everybody has a story, and maybe some have a few stories. But what I mean is maybe each person's life is a story, and that's their story in a way, or their set of experiences. And something that I really enjoy, and that's part of the birth of this podcast for me, is just trying to share those stories that I've been able to be maybe impacted by, or been able to be benefited from. I know for me, the more people I meet, I feel like maybe if they all have a story, they all have maybe the analogy of their life being a book, and I feel like I can take a page off of their life. I can take a page out of their book and take it with me.
It made sense to have as my first guest on the podcast Vernon Rowe. His specialties include sleep medicine, neurology, and psychiatry.
There's so many things that the more I talk with you, and of course one of the reasons I wanted to get you on the podcast, there's so many conversations that you and I have that sometimes it's not a conversation, it's just you going through things and me listening and trying to learn.
Right, we got two eyes, but we perceive one vision, right? So doing what you love is just a gift, and I do that. I'm just challenged and rewarded every day. I mean, I'm just amazed that I can actually do this. I learn from everybody. I'm in a situation where I try to figure out what's bothering folks, and from a neurologist standpoint, and you can just do that all day long, and people tell you learn new stuff from every single person. Prey animals, they don't have the kind of crossovers that we have as human beings. They don't have the kind of nervous system. They're expected to be eaten at any moment.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, that's something that I end up saying to people a lot. Things like, the horse is, he's just trying to survive. He's just trying to figure out what he has to do to not be eaten. And people get a laugh out of that sometimes, because in the human's head, in the human's mind, a lot of times people are saying things, well, this horse knows it's not going to get eaten. I mean, it's just been hanging out in my pasture all the time. Well, okay, I understand what the human means there, but basically, from the horse's point of view, it doesn't know. And the horse doesn't know that it could be eaten. They don't have that level of intelligence that they understand what that really means. But everything in their instincts is always telling them, be prepared.
Human beings are only one organism on the planet, so every aspect of their body is connected. So sleep's connected to headaches, connected to neck pain, is connected to emotions, connected to the way you move your body during the day. I mean, it's all connected. I learned a lot of that stuff from just, not just from years of experience, but from dealing with horses. I mean, I think horses can teach you a huge amount in your behavior with the horses, and you're trying to develop your senses with the horses about how to actually perceive, or how to interact with, and I don't want to say analyze, because it's not analyzed, but it's more of a perception of the whole patient or the whole situation. So, kids with Asperger's, or who are on the autism spectrum, right, don't have the filters. Don't seem to have the filters that other kids have. And horses don't have any filters. And those kids get along with horses. They have tremendous relationships with horses, and horses can break through to them, and they can break through the horses when nobody else can. I was taking this master's class, and they said, look, you ought to, went around the room at the end of the last day of the class. We met in his living room. We said, hey, look, so each one of you is going to have to set up his own publishing company. And actually, we're only guys in this class. His wife was a really wonderful writer, and she's his editor, and she edited our book and everything. But so we went around the room and said, you're going to have to set up your own publishing company, because you're going to have a vision of where you want to go that will not mesh with the powers that be, the biz part of publishing,
very
and the
interesting.
vision. And so we came around, and so I was I flew a helicopter at that time, had some tough helicopter hours, let me put it that way.
Sure.
And so I said, okay, all right, really impressed.
We basically put a quote at the end of each chapter. One of them was after the groundwork chapter. And instead of a quote, we just put something real simple at the bottom of the groundwork chapter. And it said, I'll probably botch it now, but basically what it said was, it was the definition of groundwork. And I just added the groundwork and a dash, and it said, something upon which progress is based. And then underneath that, it's from the Merriam-Webster's Children's Dictionary. And there was a lot of things in the book that I really enjoyed, putting little subtle things in there that were probably maybe even in a way too subtle, but it was just where it was deeper than you might think if you just read it and scan it and move on. I'm kind of a music guy. I know you are too. We've shared. Yeah. We had a trip all the way to the Panhandle of Oklahoma one time, right. You and I and Betsy, and we listened to, what would happen is they'd play one of their songs and I'd play one of mine. And they'd play one of their the whole way, and we had a blast. And there was a lot of different stuff and a lot of that different genres of music, but all had a very similar feel to them. Even though they might have been a different idea, something deep in there, or at least something that was kind of meaningful, I feel like, and then something that was just kind of funny and silly.
That's where I learned that you were a performer, that you're a heck of a singer, and that's how
singing in the car.
You got through college like that. I mean, they really wanted you bad because you were such a performer. I mean, you were a star, man.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that. Not everybody knows that, but now it's on the podcast.
Now it's on the podcast. Everybody deserves to know that.
Yeah. No, I actually got through college on a choir and theater scholarship. I didn't really know about horse training or working with horses for a living. I didn't really know much of that existed. I was at Grandpa's farm, and we would, gather, cattle up, and we'd use the horses for that. And Grandpa had a really cool history, our family does, of horses and kind of raising some saddlebred horses from the Missouri area. And I always enjoyed the horses and working with young ones, but I didn't really know that there was a whole industry based on working with horses.
So intelligence is not the main thing, how you do on standardized tests and stuff like that. And it's not really the facade of stuff, but it's more you're just having the courage and the perseverance to just stick it out and keep with something and basically keep trying to learn. I mean, I know that's the most important thing. Just never give up. Never, ever, ever give up.